You're listening to WDEL Saturday Hotspot. Here's Frank Gregory.
The year of 2015 has flown by, and now we approach the holiday season, Thanksgiving and, of course, the Christmas season. And nothing says holidays more than the artwork and workings of the legendary illustrator and painter Norman Rockwell. And we're very, very pleased. Last year we became acquainted with Jeremy Clowe. He's the manager of media services at the Rockwell Museum up in Stockbridge, Massachusetts. And he's on the line with us to tell us about what's going on up there. Jeremy, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Frank.
We're so thrilled that you're taking time out of your very busy day. I know a destination on Saturdays for a lot of people up in New England is to go see the wonderful work of Norman Rockwell. So we're thankful that you're able to take a couple minutes and talk to us today. So why don't you, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get right into the meat of the program.
Well, first of all, thank you for the Jay Giles intro there. It's got my blood pumping. I'm all set for
Well, you have your Fitbit on, right? You're ready to go?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, that's it. I'm jogging while we speak. So, as you know, the Norman Rockwell Museum was founded over 45 years ago in Stockbridge, Massachusetts, where Norman Rockwell spent the last 25 years of his life and lived and worked. And it's also that is the town. Many people are probably familiar with the Christmas scene of the New England town. That's right here in Stockbridge, literally a couple-mile drive from the museum. So obviously the holidays are a big time of year for us. First weekend of December, actually, they will recreate that painting down in the town of Stockbridge, and we have several holiday activities here at the museum and an exhibit, actually, of Rockwell's holiday work. So it's an exciting time. It's been a pleasure to work here at the museum for me over a decade, and really share this work and also other artists within the field of illustration with the public. And they like yourself, never seem to tire of it.
Absolutely. Some of the greatest images of the holidays and Christmas time with the Santa Clauses and things are done by Norman Rockwell, and just great. And we just wrapped up the World Series, and another thing Norman Rockwell had his really finger on the pulse of was baseball. The famous pictures of the umpires and the little boy waiting to go out and play in the rain are some of the greatest pictures ever done, and courtesy of Norman Rockwell on those as well. That's
right. He had a Cubs picture too, and we were like prepared almost to try to get that out there, but alas, didn't happen. I don't think he did anything for the Kansas City Royals. But yeah, baseball and Rockwell is another theme that is very popular.
Well, when you think of Americana, it was Norman Rockwell. So that's right. It's all tied in. So tell us a little bit about the museum for people who don't quite know what goes on up there.
Well, it's a year-round museum. We're open daily, and we offer the world's largest collection of Norman Rockwell artwork and Rockwell's original studio, actually, which was moved here to the spot from downtown Stockbridge and reassembled to look as it did. This is actually the final weekend, so anyone who want to make a last-minute trip, you can have a chance to visit it before it closes for the winter season. So very unique. I think there might be some artist studios that are actually open to the public out your way, but this is one of the few in the country that you really get to get a real sense of what Rockwell's environment was like and where he created all his iconic works.
No.
So in addition to that, we have a display of all 323 of the Saturday Evening Post covers that Rockwell created over his career, and that's where he really, became a sort of national name through working on that. That was always his goal, and actually next year, 2016, is the 100th anniversary of his first Saturday Evening Post cover that he created on May 20th of 1916. The Saturday Evening Post was actually based right out your way in Philadelphia, and he often would himself or have workers that would carry his canvases, completed canvases, to Philadelphia to drop off at the Post at Curtis Publishing. So you can imagine things have changed a lot, in the way the artists distribute their work.
So let me interrupt real quick. So he would come up with they would give him sort of a theme, or would they pretty much let him have artistic freedom to come up with the cover that he wanted to do, and then it had to be transported, I guess, by rail down to. Tell us about that process if you know anything about it. That's very interesting.
Yeah, well, he had actually first dropped off the first cover that he created, Boy and Baby Carriage, when he was really just in his early 20s, and he dropped that off with a couple other paintings to Curtis Publishing, and that's really how he started working with them. They picked that one, and I think one other painting that he had in his portfolio case. And literally, to get that work to the publishing company, they would take the train. There is a train right here in Stockbridge, so that made it a little easier when he moved out this way. I have heard stories of some of his colleagues, people he worked with, that were a little bit nervous about making sure that this precious piece of artwork made it safely to the headquarters. And Rockwell, you asked if he had control over the themes. He actually did. It was really a rare, I guess in this day, an opportunity where he had a window to communicate with the public his vision of, he was really inspired. We go back to the idea of Christmas. He grew up loving the stories of Charles Dickens. Mm-hmm. So actually, this is a show that we have up right now. There are examples, post covers even, that he did that pay tribute to Tiny Tim and those classic tales that inspired him to become a visual storyteller.
That's unbelievable. And in fact, when we were talking about the Christmas show when we talked earlier this week, and you're going to be on for that as usual, we are trying to connect up with the Charles Dickens house for an interview.
Oh, yeah.
That would be fun as well. Real quick, and another question that I wanted to ask you as we went on. I heard bits and pieces, but there's some sort of Wilmington tie-in that you were talking to Carl about?
Yeah, so in addition, as I mentioned, that we have other shows about the field of illustration. Now, there are artists that are still working within this industry that Rockwell was a part of. He was a commercial artist and created works for print. So there are artists that are still working in that. We do shows featuring people still involved. And then past illustrators, his colleagues or people that inspired him. And today, in fact, we're actually opening up a really beautiful show on an artist named Harvey Dunn.
Okay.
And he is obviously the name is probably not quite as recognizable as Norman Rockwell, but he had started his career about maybe a decade earlier than Rockwell. Was actually taught by Howard Pyle, who was from your area,
yes,
neck of the woods there.
Absolutely.
The Brandywine School. And actually, Harvey Dunn started his career in Wilmington. Coincidentally, here we're talking. And he's known for, if I could describe his work, it's stunning. It's beautiful. It's in the tradition, if you know Howard Pyle, that just sweeping adventure scenes. And he became known as he was one of 8 artists during World War I that was hired as part of the American Expeditionary Forces. So he would actually be on the front lines and painting, the scenes that were happening. And we have some of those works on view. They're really quite energetic. He captures the sort of chaotic nature of being. You imagine being on those in the line of fire. And then on the flip side, I think because of his just the emotional toll of the war, he was originally from South Dakota, and so he actually sort of moved back and referenced his roots, and he created this series of beautiful paintings of the South Dakota prairie that we have on view, and it's also dynamic in a different way. And showing a lot of the harsh elements of that, and also the serenity. So.
Right, and now
we're really excited about that.
Now that you mentioned that, I do know that Dunn did a lot of the warscapes and things like that. Was very famous for that. Now I do remember that with that time. It had slipped my mind. But Howard Pyle actually made his bones probably less than about a mile from where our radio station is.
Oh yeah. So you're steeped. You have a sort of, as we do out here in this part of New England. You've got your own treasures of American art right in your backyard there.
Tell us a little bit break down the museum a little bit. Now, when people come and they journey from miles around, I had a client this past week, and she said she went up there and her friend made sure they went to the Norman Rockwell Museum. Is there one piece, Jeremy, and that's hard for you to say, but is there one piece that's the destination for a lot of people? They say, this is the one I really want to see. I want to get up close to. It's obviously when you go to the Louvre, you want to see the Mona Lisa. They got signs pointing. Is there one Norman Rockwell piece that people say, that's the one I really wanted to see?
That is a really hard question to answer. Because
I knew it would be.
I mean, he worked literally through the 20th century. So there's so much work. I think he did between 4,000 to 5,000 works over his career. And there are so many favorites. And we own the largest collection, but we don't have everything. And actually, sometimes we get paintings loaned to us that private owners have. I mean, his works are really quite hot on the auction market right now. And so I would say for our collection, though, we do own the Four Freedom series that he did during World War II, and those are, modeled after FDR's famous address to Congress in the early 40s.
Yes.
And, the time of year coming up, Thanksgiving, everybody knows that one Rockwell painting, Freedom from Want, the Thanksgiving scene. So we actually have a gallery that's been designed when we opened our new spot here in Stockbridge in early 90s. We actually created a gallery that houses those four paintings, and it's beautiful. And I've seen people quite moved in that gallery space. Other classics we have, Problem We All Live With, is the Civil Rights era painting that Rockwell did in the early 60s. And then we have some fun, Saturday Evening Post classics like the Triple Self-Portrait. It's fun, depiction of himself, behind the easel.
Now, we talked about, again, his connection with the Saturday Evening Post, and obviously the editors of the Post knew they were on the, pardon the pun, gold. They had gold when they had Rockwell portraits, so that's why they probably let him have artistic, because you don't try to stifle somebody like that. You let them run, right? You let them you let them do what they want. Real quick on one other point. You've obviously done a lot of research and know a little bit about the man, although you never met him. How would he view, and I'm going to ask you to take outside the normal mode, how do you think he would do his view of the commercialization, people bidding on his paintings in the open market and his works in the open market? Was that what it was all about? And do you think he might say, I didn't do it for that reason?
It's really funny. I have actually a unique perspective because I've actually been conducting video oral histories with people that modeled for Rockwell over the years and people that knew him. And I've heard time and time again the story about how he would complete a painting and oftentimes he would actually just give that to some of his colleagues and the people that modeled for his works. I think he painted in the tradition of the masters, So when you visit our museum and you see these works, it's quite stunning beyond how they appeared in print. The printing capabilities back then were not what they are today. You have G-clay prints. You can get a pretty fair approximation of what these works look like. But he spared no expense. He treated it as fine art, even though he's a commercial illustrator. But I think he probably had no idea. I think maybe later in his life he realized, the sort of legacy that he wanted to, that he created, and people were obviously touched by his work. So he was very involved in the early days of the museum, which actually started as a town museum in Stockbridge. He loaned his works to save this historic building in town.
Well, again, and I know that it wasn't all about that for him. He wanted people to enjoy his work, and that's the beautiful thing, and that's a bygone era. But just I got to put it out there. I'm a radio host. What has been the largest price paid for a Rockwell work that you're aware of?
The largest price, and there are some auctions that are happening, I think, as we speak, this weekend. But the largest, I think, that had gone recent years, set a record, was a painting Rockwell created for the Saturday Evening Post called Saying Grace. Now, it's a scene of a family they're sitting in a sort of rustic kind of diner. It's actually maybe a city scene. And that picture went for, I'm typing the numbers while we speak here, see if I can find it, $46 million.
No,
for
$46 million?
Yeah.
Wow.
You better save your pennies, Frank.
I'd have to drop out of the bidding at $42 million. I couldn't go any higher than that. $46 million.
Is there a particular rarity to that picture? What would make? I mean, if he's got 4,000 works, it's not like a Leonardo, But
this painting actually, we did have it on loan to us for many years, so it was on view, and we all had a chance to admire it. It's a beautiful composition that he created. It was, at one time, they did a poll for the Saturday Evening Post. It was a cover for 1951 cover. And this painting was chosen as like the favorite cover of all time that Rockwell had done. So this is another, you asked the iconic works. Yeah, that's one. And so now it's privately owned. I honestly don't know who owns it now. I hope we had a chance to see it again. That's the thing, one of the things. It's great, the recognition for Rockwell's work, but oftentimes the works will, if they're whoever has the pockets to purchase these. So we're a nonprofit,
wow.
So we're actually kind of squeezed out, or we don't have the opportunity. But sometimes these works, who knows if they'll ever be seen again, which would be a shame.
Right. Well, I got to take a break off of that. That sort of shook me for a loop there. A little bit there,
yeah.
Hold on. We're with Jeremy Clowe. He is the manager of media services at the Norman Rockwell Museum in Stockbridge, Massachusetts. It's now a destination for anybody in our listening area that makes the trip to New England to swing by Stockbridge and check out the Norman Rockwell Museum. We're going to put him on hold. We got WDEL's exclusive AccuWeather forecast, and then we'll continue with more of the Saturday Hotspot. And not the Saturday Evening Post, but still a great magazine here on WDEL. Stay right there.
You're listening to WDEL Saturday Hotspot. Here's Frank Gregory.
We're spending a couple minutes with our buddy Jeremy Clowe. He is the manager of media services at the great Norman Rockwell Museum in Stockbridge, Massachusetts. We want him to stay in better contact. We got to do a better job staying in contact with him to find out what's going on up there. But with a couple minutes left, Jeremy, I'm going to give you the floor. Talk about anything you'd like to help us learn more about the Norman Rockwell Museum.
Okay, I got a few minutes left. I got the Fitbit on, and I'm running, trying to get the last dash here. So we, of course, have some other exciting exhibits planned. There's an artist named Matt Connor who studied with Harvey Dunn. We'll be showing his work in the new year. He's from the Mad Men era, which should be a lot of fun to see that representation of illustration. And then, of course, a lot of great programs tied to Rockwell and the holidays. And we also have a very vibrant traveling exhibit program. So people that can't make the trip out here to Stockbridge, we've had a very successful run of sharing out the work out on the road. And there are a few things that are coming up out your way. We actually are winding down our national show, American Chronicles, and this has several of those iconic paintings that I mentioned to you, the triple self-portrait, Probably I'll Live With. It's actually out on the West Coast right now, but it will be winding down at the Taubman Museum of Fine Art in Roanoke, Virginia, in March. Mm-hmm. So that'll be a great opportunity for people. I guess it's a little bit of a drive for people out in your way, but it's at least at the next state over. And then closer to your area, we have a show with an artist from Philadelphia named Jerry Pinkney. It's going to be on view in Annville, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
He's a very talented artist, and so he's an artist, an example of somebody continuing the tradition of Norman Rockwell. Mm-hmm. And then I should mention that we have another great show that's opening today that is called Love a Vet. It's actually a show honoring veterans, not dogs. I'm going to make that clear there.
Right.
But this is a really a wonderful show that has been put together by an artist, a designer out in New Jersey area. It is originally done. All the works were meant to set up a fund for veterans, for assistance in education. And we're actually offering, we're having a Veterans Day event, which is free for active military veterans. And then through the course of this exhibit, which is running through January 5th, we are offering free admission to veterans. They can pick that up at tickets at a local bank, Berkshire Bank in our area. We're very happy that they've helped us, and that's just another way we can help to share the work with the community.
Jeremy Clowe, I want everybody to go to the Norman Rockwell site on Facebook. Type in Norman Rockwell Museum and go right to it. We've connected up with our Facebook page. Jeremy Clowe, we can't thank you so much. In fact, when we're going to have our Christmas show, we're going to decorate a Christmas tree. I'm going to mandate that you take a postcard from the museum and have everybody sign it and send it down here so we can hang it from our Christmas tree. How's that sound?
Absolutely, yes. Be happy to do that. All right, we can't send you original work. But
no, just a postcard there, and everybody sign it from the museum, and we'll put it on our Christmas tree. How's that sound?
Sounds awesome.
I'll put you on hold. Thank you so much, Jeremy Clowe. Until we talk again real soon, everybody have a great day. Be safe, be happy, and the Hotspot will be back in 1 week here on WDEL. Go Wesley. Bye-bye.